For the Smash Our Stash collaboration this month, the theme was unfinished projects, so I finished a bunch of random projects in process that were on my desk. It is time for the Smash Our Stash collaboration share, and like I said, this month it was unfinished projects. This is a collaboration I host. There will be a hashtag in the title and in the description box below for you that you can click on and see all the participants in the collaboration and what they chose to finish this month. If for some reason the hashtag brings in some weird stuff, you should be able to, there should be an option to refine search to hashtag only, and that will help clear it up. So I have a bunch of unfinished projects. I have several bigger unfinished projects or projects in process that I didn't touch. I decided to focus on the smaller works in progress, especially the ones that were sitting on my desk or in a pile that was near my desk. I just wanted to go ahead and finish them off, clear them out. Some things I had held off and waited specifically for this month of Smash Our Stash. So I have kind of a variety of things that were in a variety of stages. I made these cards a while back and just needed to they just needed a little something else. So they had the sentiment, they had everything else. I just added a little flower off to the right on each one. These were from a prior project as well. These might have been from the Smash Our Stash. Was it last month? I used scraps last month. I don't remember if I did them last month or earlier this year when we used scraps. But anyway, these just needed a sentiment. So I just added that. These were from, I made them kind of in a preparation for one of my No Scraps sketch set videos. I was just kind of playing around with the orientation, and so these just needed some sentiments and just some other embellishments. So they're still pretty simple, but at least they do have sentiments on them. And then these, they had a sentiment. I just felt they needed a little bit something else down there at the bottom. So those were all from projects last month. Now this was from a couple months ago, my 12 months of Christmas challenge that I'm doing. These, I was finishing off a Christmas pad, and I made the cards, but a lot of them, there were a few of them that needed sentiments on the front, but a lot of them, they were finished on the front, but I didn't actually put a specific sentiment. So I did stamp something on the inside that's like, wishing them Christmas joy. And then these needed something on the front, so I found some ephemera pieces in an Echo Park ephemera pack that were sentiments that worked. So finished off those. And this may have been from the same month when I was trying to finish off some partial pads. I had these done. I just felt like I needed to add something on the back side. These are gift card holder tags or ornaments. They're inspired by Letty over at Party Planner Papery. She made them around Christmas time, and I thought it was a great idea for scraps. And so I used her measurements and made some, and I had them all done, but again, I felt like they needed something on the back side, and I had set them aside and never got back to them. So this month I got back to them. I just added a circle or a tag or something with to and from, so that the gift card can slide into here, but then that way you can at least put who it's to and who it's from. And then these I also used making a pad cover when I was using up some of those partial pads. This was the little preview squares on the pad cover. I had cut down the tags but hadn't decorated them. It's funny how you have you just leave things in various stages thinking you're going to come back, and you never do. You keep moving them aside. So this unfinished projects month that we have for Smash Our Stash is always good for me. Just like, why didn't I just finish them? It would have taken a few minutes and I could have had them done. Instead, I spent like days trying to finish all of these at one time. Anyway, so these, I just found some stickers or die cuts. Like, I had been working on scraps lately and die cutting, so I tried to use up some die cuts as well. So just added something to the fronts of all of them. So those are now done. And last month, for when I was working with scraps, I had glued up and cut down the bookmarks, but I had not added the tassels because I figured I'd wait until this month for the unfinished project theme, Smash Our Stash. So I added tassels, and on some of them that were more plain, I added a little bit of embellishment. But the rest of them, just found some yarn in my stash that worked and added some tassels so that they looked more like regular bookmarks. These have been in my stash for a long time. I happened to run across them and when I was looking for something a while back, and figured again I'd save them for this month to finish them off. But they were note cards I had made, like little 3.5 by 5-inch note cards that I had made, trying to use up some of this John Deere paper I think I'd gotten in a clearance pack at Hobby Lobby. And so I decided that they needed some fun farm themed embellishments, because my thought process was when I could donate these for like little boy birthday cards, or I guess little girl too, not to discriminate. But I just found some stickers. Like, this is from a sticker sheet. This is just a vinyl horse that I'd cut out of some vinyl scrap. And I did stamp on the inside, "Happy Birthday to You," because not all of them say happy birthday on the outside. This was just like a little sentiment. I had some left from another project I had done a few years ago. I had found the image on my silhouette and printed it out to be a sentiment. This one, I just took a sentiment that I already had pre-stamped and added some sticker embellishments. Same. These are just stickers. This was another image from my silhouette that I printed out. So just kind of a assortment of items that I used to finally decorate those and finish them off. And then, oh gosh, months ago, I think it was last year, 2023, for Smash Our Stash, there was a theme of using strips, whether it's like Love from Lizzie strips or border strips or paper strips, just any kind of strips. And I had sat down with my daughter and we had made a bunch of those like strip card fronts, where you just take a sheet of cardstock and kind of add adhesive to the whole thing and then lay down your strips. And then I had just stuck them in my card mat stash thinking I'd use them, as, I don't know, I was working on other cards, but I never reached for them because they're really hard to use when you're working with other patterned paper. So I went through my stash of random like cut aparts and just bigger embellishments and finally finished these off as well. So they're I kept them very simple just because there's a lot going on the background. This was actually something I had harvested from another greeting card a long time ago. Finally used it a few years ago for a challenge on my Facebook group. It was to use the punch boards. And so I had made a bunch of these jars using my envelope punch board and had never used them. So I tried to use up some of these as well. And I also tried to pull out some of the embellishments that I've been making using scraps. This was actually my girls and I had done some paint smishing, and this like with some chipboard. And this was a piece that I had die cut and it's been sitting around. So found a way to use that. Harvested from a birthday card a long time ago. I mean, the things we save, right? these last two were from a Echo Park Sentiments ephemera pack. Another one of those jars. So just very random. Glad to finally have those done. And then this last batch of cards is, it's from last month when I was working on scraps. I had pulled out a bunch of scraps that I had planned to use and I didn't finish them, and I left them out thinking I will finish them throughout the month, and I didn't. But I determined that I was going to get through as many as I could for today's video. So I still have some left that I'm either just going to have to face the fact that I'm not going to use them and put them back in my stash, or find some time to get them used up so I can get them off my desk. I'm tired of like the stuff that just hangs out on my desk to remind me to get back to it, and I still manage to avoid doing it. So for the sheetload of cards earlier this month, I had made a bunch of these thank you postcards for my online orders. I always like to send a little handwritten thank you note. And when I had my Misty out and had the stamps on the Misty, I went ahead and stamped a whole bunch of them just so I didn't have to like continue to do it. I knew I had wanted to try and make some using up some scraps. So, and this is just on some like light gray cardstock that somebody had given me like multiple packs of, like, you know, like office size packs of. And so I'm always trying to find ways to use it. So I used that for some of these. And then just pulled out some scraps. This is another one of those paint smushed chipboard pieces. And then a lot of the sentiments were pre-stamped or like sitting on my desk in my sentiment stash. Just kind of arranged scraps in different ways. Brought in some punched and die cut pieces from scraps from previous projects. So just kind of worked with whatever scraps I could find that would work together. Now this is an actual card, trying to use up some, I had a bunch of these squares of rooster paper left. And so I made a few of those. This is just a little birthday card. I had a football paper left from a scrapbook layout, and so this is, I actually already had it cut out from my silhouette from some black scraps. So made some cards that could be used for like boys' birthdays or whatever. Simple thank you. This one, I've been wanting to play with these 3D, like they're dimensional. Some are foam, some are like acrylic type stickers from Hobby Lobby, I think. But they were llamas and cacti, and so I finally managed to work some of those onto a card. I had some My Little Pony paper left from something a long time ago. Finally used those last few strips, and then these were left over from note cards. I have a set of note cards that I have for sale in my online stores, and every time I make some, I have these strips left, and they tend, I mean, when you put 3 of them together, it makes a card front. So I always save those strips. So I finally decided to use those up. So the last thing I did was to go through the bin of scraps that I had kind of sectioned out over the last couple months. When I started to work with scraps, I tried to weed things out, anything that was smaller than a certain size, and I don't even really have a basic guide. I put in a bin like this, so you can see this is still unfinished, but I made progress. Put those in a bin to die cut. And so I spent quite a bit of time over the past month using going through my dies, finding things that would be images that I could use and that would work with the color and size of the paper. So I have like Christmas and fall and random shapes in here, words that I can use for sentiments. So there's a ton in here that I now need to go through, sort out. There's some that have layers that I need to put together and finish that off. And then obviously you saw that I still have this to work through. But I'm going to leave that over by my die cut machine. This got a little long, I think, but please be sure to check out the hashtag to see what all the other participants used. Months like this, where there's not a very specific theme, are always exciting because everybody does something totally different. So I'm sure everybody's got a variety of different unfinished projects. So please be sure to check them all out. And as always, thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you all have a very crafty day.